What's up, YouTube? Zachary Kramer with Cool Cars for Sale, bringing you the coolest cars for sale on the internet. Today, we have a very special car. It is the 2020 Jeep Wrangler JL. That's the code name. Came out in 2018. This car is brand new. It actually is my brother's car. He picked it up a couple weeks ago, and while he's in Texas, we're gonna review it. Let's have some fun. So to bore you guys with some simple facts, in 1940, the Bantam Company started building the Jeep. Within 2 days, they designed this thing. For World War II, the United States military needed a four-wheel vehicle to get around. And this is what they came, well, not this, but they came up with something similar to this. It wasn't until 1987 that Chrysler bought the Jeep brand and started calling it the Wrangler. Originally, it was the CJ, which was civilian Jeep. And then before that, it was just a military vehicle. I'm not going to bore you with that. Another very interesting fact is about the grille. The original grille had 13 slots, then it went down to 9, and now, as you can see here, they're on to 7. So maybe eventually it will be like BMW with just 2 giant kidney grills. I don't know. The car has gotten significantly bigger over the years. As you can see, it's pretty beefy. You can actually eat lunch on this thing right here. I've done it before. It's pretty big, you know. So, going back to the original design of this vehicle, it was actually created in partnership by Ford Willys. So even though Chrysler is associated with Jeep, it actually originally in the 40s was built by Ford. So that's pretty cool to know. The curb weight of this monster vehicle is 4,263 pounds. It needs all the power it can get. Under the hood here, you have a 3.6 liter V6 making 285 horsepower and 260 foot-pounds of torque. It can only tow 3,500 pounds. It's really not that much. I don't really recommend towing anything other than a tiny trailer. But that's not really what this is for. It's for off-roading, and we're gonna test that later. The interior of the Jeep is pretty spacious, I'm not gonna lie. They did upgrade the navigation screen in 2018. You can now have Apple CarPlay, so that's nice. There's a 12-volt charger there as well, and also some auxiliary cord stuff down here and a USB. When people think about Jeep, they think, hey, top down, doors off, let's have a great time at the beach. But when you actually get into it, is it actually easy to take the doors off, put the top down, and put it back together? Is it time consuming? Can the average person actually do it? The answer is no. That's why you see so many people with their tops up all the time, or they just use the hard top and call it a day. Or my favorite is the people that can't even put this all the way down because they don't know how to take the side windows off and the rear window, so it just sits up here. So it's actually not easy to operate. The hardest thing about it is putting it back together, and I will demonstrate that right now. So one of the cool things that Jeep does give you is a small toolkit. And when I mean small, I mean very small, but you get everything you need. Ratchet and a couple of extensions and some other pieces you need for the doors and the windshield. Another cool thing is that you actually have storage for the bolts. These are the bolts for the hard top. We took it off not too long ago, put the soft top on. So that's actually a nice little feature that they give you. Now I'm going to show you how to take the doors off. The first thing you need is your ratchet. The second thing you need is this little guy here. I think it's a 45 mil, I'm not sure, but it comes in the kit. And there's 2 bolts, one under this hinge here and one under this hinge over here. Slide it in and get it going. It takes a while. I wish I had a electric ratchet. It would make life. You could literally do this in 2 minutes if you have one of those. But we do everything with the kit that Jeep includes. Because that's the way they want you to do it. This one just keeps going. Take it off now. Alright, after you remove those 2 bolts, you want to open the door. You got to change the extension here to this long skinny one. And this bolt in the hinge here, you want to undo that one. So I'll do that now. That out. Unlatch this thing here. Pull that out like that, don't break it. And then there is a thing here, push up on this little red tab here. It's not easy. And then you lift up this white piece here. Like that.
Yeah, I can see.
And then you're able to unplug this, slightly close the door for some slack, and you can then somehow take this off. Now that you undid that, the door will swing freely. Make sure it does not hit the side of the vehicle. What I do is I tuck this thing into here like that. Once you do that, this is the fun part, lifting the door. Don't break anything, but the door comes off. It's about 50 pounds. It's not horrible. And that's it. The door is off. You do that 4 times and you're good to go. Overall, the process of taking just this one door off was about 8 to 10 minutes. So if you do all 4, if you're fast, you're looking at about a half hour just to take the doors off. So now that I taught you how to take one of the doors off, let's put the roof back on. It's going to be the same process to take it off, just in reverse. However, in my opinion, putting it back on is a lot harder than taking it off. So let's do it. So basically, the first thing you do is just lift it up and it will lock into place. When you take this off, I'll just show you this real quick. When you take it off, there's a lever under here that you have to pull so it goes back down. Then it will go back down, but put it back up, it will click into place. Step 2. Stand on the vehicle. And just pull it up like this. And push it down like that. Step number 3 is in the car. Under your sun visor is 2 of these, one on each side. Get the hook to go under like that on both sides. And then clamp it up. Clamp it up. And now the roof is on. Sort of. This is the hard part. You see a lot of Jeeps driving around like this. It's for a reason. It's because they have no idea how to put it back on. It's no longer zippers like it used to be. It's some like, almost like a Ziploc bag. I'll show you. The first thing you want to do is the window, which I store back here. See this little groove here? It needs to go in here. Where this white tip is, you slide it in there. It seems easy, but it's kind of tough, especially on a new car, because it doesn't really want to go in. So you line it up and make sure it stays on. All right, I'm pretty confident now that it stayed on. Okay, we're good. You gotta make sure to tuck this piece underneath. I should have said that as well. Then it will clip on. Now, the next part is it's kind of not really on. So what do? There's these little tabs here that hook underneath here. And what you do is you want to start on a corner because it makes it a lot easier. And you just go across like this until it slaps in. And then you do it also for the side here. There's another one here. And you kind of just push it on in there and make sure it's locked. This will also help line the window up as well. Make sure all the Velcro here is in. Make it as waterproof as possible. So that's one window. That's one window. Let's do the other side. Okay, that window is now done, and now let's do the back. The first thing you want to do is open the tailgate to expose these two tabs here. And that's where the bottom of this thing goes. Here, but you want to slide it in first. And it could be a little tricky because this piece, it's not heavy, but it's heavier than the window, and it makes it tricky to put it in. So it starts right here. Same thing as the window, it slides in there. Now if you hold this up straight, maybe it won't fall out. It barely wants to go in. If you hold it up, then it slides in easier. Bottom slid a little. Line it up with the two slots, push it in. All right, once that's pushed in, you can then clip the sides here like that. Grab the other side, get it to come over a little too much. Just adjust it. And then there's two at the bottom on each side. One on this side, and then one on this side over here. Pop that in. And now your Jeep is now safe from outdoor weather. I'm out of breath. It takes, how long did that take? 15 minutes? More than 15 minutes just to put it back on. So if you're caught in a rainstorm, I don't know what to do. You're done. So now that we got the roof back on the car, let's take it for a drive, talk about some of the features and how to off-road, because I don't really know. So you have 4 different modes for the wheels. You have 2H, 4H, neutral, and 4L. 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive, neutral, and 4L stands for 4 low. That's for crawling. when you're going over some rocks or something and you're having trouble, you put it in 4L and it will just kind of crawl slowly just to help you get out of a ditch. Very beneficial up north for snow if you're stuck in the snow. Now we are in 4L. The car is just gonna be crawling, I guess. You just kind of do that, and it kind of just goes. It's kind of doing it on its own. Give it a little bit of gas to get out of the spot. I'm so bad at off-roading. I'm sorry, guys. I've never experienced doing this. It's fun, though. I'll say that. It is fun. Let's get her out of this ditch here. Onto some of this gravel. We're just sinking into the gravel, but I can go slow here. Maneuvering out. Peeling out in style. I've already driven the car. It's my brother's car. I helped him pick it out. But the first thing I can tell you is this is a driver's car, not like a racing driver's car or like a fun driving car. It's a driver's car as in it's literally only for the driver because your passengers will hate you. It is so bumpy back here. I mean, Ari is sitting in the back right now. I just see him in my rear view mirror bouncing up and down. Also, the seats back there are very tall. It's not very comfortable, in my personal opinion. The second thing to know is even though you only have 285 horsepower in a very heavy vehicle, it actually has decent pickup and it sounds decent. It's not bad. I mean, it's nothing, the speed isn't anything to write home about, but it's not bad for what it is. It's very top heavy. I feel like I'm driving a semi-truck. I mean, yeah, I drive cars all the time, not really big SUVs, but it still feels like you're hovering over everybody. It's not the most stable. I'm constantly correcting my hands to make it go straight. It's not aerodynamic at all, so the wind pushes you from one side to the other. So if you are going to buy this car, you need to know that. You need to know that it's for off-roading purposes. It makes a good daily. It gets decent gas mileage, but it's not that great. They advertise the vehicle to be 22 city, 29 highway. We're only getting 18.1 in this car. My brother drives pretty conservative as well, so or does he? I don't know. After seeing these numbers, but you know, expect 18. That's what I'm telling you. They do make a 4-cylinder turbo version of the vehicle. It's not really for off-roading. You need the V6, you need the torque if you're gonna take this off-roading. You can get away with the 4-cylinder if you go to the beach every once in a while, but if you're really going to be overlanding or, you know, taking it off-road, you really need the V6, and that's what this one has. If you're a big fan of car culture, this is definitely a fun car. What I've noticed in the past 25 minutes that I've been driving this car is that everyone else that has a Jeep does something called the Jeep wave. Everyone that has a Jeep will literally just stick their hand out the window and wave. They'll get really excited, and you don't really get that with other vehicles. You know, in my M3, I've passed other M3s. They could care less about you. They just keep driving, and that's, you know, it's fun to wave to everybody. I like it. I like the culture. Something I hate about every single Jeep basically ever made, the stop start feature. Every time you get in the car, you have to press this button to turn it off. Why? The car should remember that you don't like it. Every time I get in, because as you guys know, I used to have a Grand Cherokee, every time you have to press the button. In my BMW, my 330, You press the button, it remembers you don't like it, you never have to press it again. You don't even know it's there. But that's a pet peeve of mine, and I happen to know from speaking to another few people, it's also a pet peeve of theirs. So this is a fun road here that I usually take my M3 on. Let's see if I can rip the Jeep. It sounds good. It's loud in the cabin. Taking this turn, I'm only going 70. It's a little bit sketchy, I'm not gonna lie. A little bit sketchy on that turn. Typically it can go a little bit faster, but that was a little bit sketchy in this. But again, that's not what it's for. Driving this thing around town, you notice that it fits in well. It is a larger car, but it's, you know, SUVs are now the trend. There are other cars that are much larger. You know, the Suburban, pretty much the Escalade, which is basically a Suburban, the Ford Explorer, any pickup truck, they're all going to be bigger than this. Fits in well. You could park it in most spaces. It's not bad. The wind noise from the outside with the soft top can be a little bit loud. It's not that obnoxious, but it's definitely louder than when you have the hard top on. There's no doubt about that. One thing that I really like about this car is the infotainment system in front of your face, not really the nav. You get a nice screen that tells you all the information that you really need to know, and you can scroll through it. It's nice. You know, MPGs, all that stuff. And it has some, you can see the radio station when you have the nav on, you can see where you're going. So that's nice. They had that in the previous gen at the end as well. Next to this truck right now, it's a little bit loud. We're on the highway. It's definitely shaking. I'm only going 75. Like I said before, it's not very aerodynamic. So if you're planning on taking it on long road trips, it's more of when you get to the destination, not about the journey to the destination. That's more for grand touring, not really for the Jeep. Now we're kind of in like an off-road spot, as you can see here. I'm gonna take it on some of these hills, see how it performs. As I said before, I don't really know too much about off-roading, but I'm gonna do my best for you guys. But I really wanted this review to be more about how the car, how everyone has this idea that the car is so fun, they're gonna do all these things, when in reality, it's actually quite difficult to put the top down, take the doors off. It's a whole project in itself. So if you're going to be buying this car, you really have to love doing those things. If you don't, then it's kind of just a hassle and you're just gonna end up with a regular SUV. It doesn't let you do it. It doesn't like it. That was unreal. That was a lot of fun. I don't know anything about off-roading, but the Jeep is more than capable of going up that hill. That's really my review of the 2020 Jeep Wrangler. Again, if you're going to buy this car, it's because you're going to be very enthusiastic about going off-roading or going to the beach, taking the doors off, putting the roof down. It's very time consuming to do so. And it's kind of a pain in the ass, to be quite honest. But if you're really enthusiastic about that stuff, this is the car for you. If you're just going to be, you know, soccer mom or just driving it every day, not really into the sports utility type of activities, honestly, I would go with something else. It's not that comfortable, especially for passengers. And like I said, it's kind of a pain in the butt. That's my review of the 2020 Jeep Wrangler. Until next time, see you later.